So I just finished pulling someone out of the mud on a hunting trail, and these lights lit up. The ABS light, the traction control light, and a light that says ESPBAS. So let's see what that means. It is rescanning it, and the code is back. So as you saw from my previous video, that the code scanner showed that the ABS light was on because of this wheel right here. So what I did, I went to AutoZone and just out of precaution got a ABS speed sensor. Now that may not be the problem, it may have just come unhooked, but we're about to go find out. So as you saw from my other video, the ABS code that is in here shows the left rear wheel. So let's see if it still says that. Okay, yes, left rear wheel speed sensor circuit. So we're gonna need to check that on this wheel. All right, so a lot of times these wheel sensors, if you're on the trail or what have you, this is the wire going to it, and if it comes undone from here, it'll get pinched in between the bump stop here and break the wire. But that doesn't seem to be what's happened with this. As you can see, this one is still intact with all of its original little holders there in the axle. And it does go from here around here under the axle, then it plugs in right here. So everything here still looks intact. So the first thing I'm going to do is unplug it, and then I'm going to inspect the wires. So the first thing I'm going to do, this is plastic safe lubricant for like little electrical connectors, and I found over the years, if you spray a little bit of this onto the connector, it's less likely to break the connector. All right, so I've got to pry out this little locking tab. I think it just goes straight that way. Let me try that. All right, so a little tip to keep from breaking that. Just put a little flat screwdriver in here and just pry it back. And when you pry it back, pry it towards the center of the vehicle, it just pops right out, you see? But you start here and pry it that way. Okay, so you don't need to break it. So a little tip, just push this thing back, and then you just press down on this little lever right here and just wiggle it back and forth, and it will come off. And that is the tip of your speed sensor right here. And there's an 8mm bolt down there. Let me see if I can get a picture. Okay. There's an 8mm bolt right there. And that's the connector. So should have plenty enough room with a little 1/4-inch socket to get it. Okay, that's the little 8mm bolt that holds it in. And as you can see, it's got a little bit of orange, that looks like maybe orange Loctite on it. So you might want to put that back. All right, now to get this thing out, you're going to have to wiggle it. So you're going to have to wiggle it back and forth, and it will eventually just pull right out. So there's a little hole that it came out of. I think I'm going to squirt some brake cleaner to clean that off. Okay, so here is the original one. As you see, it's got kind of an offset mount versus the plug. Same thing with this Duralast one. So the interesting thing about these is I don't know if you can clean them or not. So I'm not going to take a chance. I'm just going to put this new one in there and not have to deal with it. By the way, this AutoZone one is made in Mexico, I think it says, and the Mopar ones I think are made in Mexico too. So anyway, what you're gonna do. All right, so the installation is the reverse. So I did inspect the wiring, and I do not see any evidence of any damage whatsoever. So what I'm going to do is use this this contact cleaner and thoroughly clean that plug. And then I'm going to put just a little dab of dielectric grease in there. And I'm also going to use some brake parts cleaner to clean that little, around that little hole there. Okay, so got the little hole clean, so I'm going to gently push this sensor back up in there like this. Okay. And then we have got to put the bolt back in. All right, so I cleaned the bolt and I'm going to put just a little bit of dab of Loctite on there like it had. Let's see. All right, there we go. And I don't know if you can see it, but one of the things I noticed is one of those pins are really corroded. You see that right there? Okay. And of course, while you're under here, inspect the pads. These pads are good. I just replaced them not too long ago. Everything else looks good. Time to button it back up. All right, now we got it wrapped up. I do believe the thing actually has to drive before it'll reset, but let's see if we got any codes on this thing. Yeah, you see it's still got a code, but I think you have to drive it. I'm gonna see if I can reset it with this tool. All right, I did erase it with the code and it all went away. Before, when I was erasing it with the original speed sensor, it would not clear, so that tells me that that speed sensor was bad. So overall, great fix. And here is the part number. So overall, a pretty easy fix on this JK. So hope that helps you out, and y'all have a great evening.